Chairman Bennett, always good to be with you. Senator, good to be with you. Young man, how old are you?
11.
11. Okay, I've got you beat. I have been in politics since I was 9 years old. Summer of 1960. Politics has given me what it has, Eugene. It's given me meaning and adventure. The meaning of being involved in the biggest issues of your day, whether it's taxes or foreign policy, or whether it's local issues. And the adventure of meeting wonderful people like you all over the country. This is the 45th state. I've been in 45 states for the RNC in the last 16, 18 months. And that's the best part of it, is getting out and meeting people. And I started this adventure when I was 9 years old, the summer of 1960. Kennedy, Nixon. I watched the conventions on television. It was such a thrill for me, along with Joanne, to call that convention to order. Joanne is the one who organized the convention in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and did a tremendous job at that. 1960. I had an uncle who was running for superintendent of schools in Scott County, Tennessee, right on the Tennessee-Kentucky border, down US 27 or I-75. Some of you probably know that route. And he came to me and said, "Mike, would you go with me this summer?" And I said, "Sure, Clarence, I'd be happy to go." And every morning I would literally be up and ready and out with him, and we'd go down these little towns and dusty roads, and I'd go on one side of the road and knock on the door and hand out the literature, and he'd go on the other. And if there was a question I couldn't answer, I'd go get him. And I ate a lot of pie that summer with ladies who would bring me in and ask me to eat with them. I learned never to say no when someone asked me to eat with them. It's still staying with me, unfortunately. But it was a great summer for me. I had to go back to school, and that was kind of a downer. We didn't have homeschool in those days. We had to go back to school. And I remember on election day going to the local radio station, WBNT, and they had this huge loudspeaker on the outside, and the election results were coming in, and they would announce the results, and I was writing them down. I was so excited about it. And then at the end of the night, we were behind 12 votes. We lost by 12 votes. Oh, I mean, I was crushed. I can take you back and show you where I was standing. I cried that evening. I mean, it just, my world was upside down. I was really upset about it. That Sunday, I went to Sunday school in church, and I'm one of 27 first cousins. My father is the last of 12. It was a very large family, and a lot of my uncles and aunts were at this church. And I was talking to them about the election. And you know what? I found out that some of them didn't vote. Oh, I can still tell you who it was. I still remember. From time to time, I've talked to them about that. But I learned such great lessons out of that have gone with me forever. The good side of this, 4 years later, Uncle Clarence won and was superintendent for 2 terms, and I got to go with him and learn a lot about politics, and it was great. But I learned that you got to ask people to vote, and that you can't take people for granted. And I've learned a lot in my years of being involved in politics. I've managed every kind of race, from the school board to the United States Senate. I've been involved in several presidential, this is my 10th presidential race, at different levels. And there's some common elements in every one of those. There are 4. One is having superior candidates, and we do in this campaign. I've had the opportunity to ride in a pickup truck with John McCain around the county where I live in eastern Kentucky and talk to him about what's important. I live in a rural area that has a lot of mining and small farming, and talk to him about what's important. I know John McCain as a person. I know what he's sacrificed for his country all these years. He's put his country before himself time after time after time. So we know what his record is, and we know what he would do. And Sarah Palin, what a breath of fresh air she was. When she was announced at the convention, our volunteers increased 500%, literally 500% in 2 weeks. And many of them are still there. We have over 1 million volunteers like you all over the country. We have almost 2 million now people who've given us money in this campaign. People who've written a small check, $70 is about the average. She brought a lot of energy to the campaign and has been tremendous to work with. I got to go up to her hotel room to have her sign the papers that made her the official nominee of the party. And I got to see her little girl run in, and she did some other things, and then she'd come back and we'd do political things. And she walks the walk. She is a truly gracious person, and we have a tremendous team to be proud of this time. So we have superior candidates. On the other side, I have some question about the candidates on the other side. You know, Joe Biden is really, when he was running for president, I used to talk about Joe Biden wanted to be Hubert Humphrey. He loved to talk. Joe Biden loves the sound of his own voice and often other people's words. He has a problem with plagiarism. He's always making mistakes. Joe Biden has not had a distinguished career. He has maybe one accomplishment, and it was a crime bill that he helped pass about 15 years ago. And then Barack Obama. Barack Obama has a very thin resume. When you look back at it, would you hire him to be president of the United States on this resume? Arguably, it's the thinnest resume of anyone, certainly in over 100 years, running for president. State Senate, a short period of time. In Congress, in the Senate, a short period of time. During that period of time, he's been running for president a great amount of that time. So when you look at it just objectively on, here were two people applying for a job, Barack Obama's resume does not stack up. We clearly have the superior candidates. Now, the second thing that all successful campaigns have is enough money. I didn't say more money than the other guy, because in this case, it didn't happen. Barack Obama said he would take the federal money, the $84 billion, if the Republican did, and then he reneged on that, just like he did when he said he would go to 10 town hall meetings and said, anytime, anywhere. He changed his mind, which makes me question, would he change his mind on other things? So Barack Obama has had more money in this campaign than we have. He spent, we've seen how many thousands of commercials have been run here in Ohio, but we have enough money to get our message out, and you're a big part of that, because it's not all about television. Television changed the world in 1960, that first year that I got involved in politics. That's when television really started being predominant, and we spend more money on that. But you know, the old-fashioned way still works. So enough money, and we've got enough money. We have 1,700,000 plus. We're headed toward 2 million individual donors. We've raised, Joanne, we just hit this today, $300 million at the RNC, the most that we've ever raised. So we're competitive. We just don't have as much as he does. The third thing has to do with the issue set. In a successful campaign, you're always able to distinguish yourself from your opponent. And Barack Obama has given us a lot of distinguishing characteristics for our campaign. And let's first talk about the economy. That's what we're all interested in. In real life, my wife and I are involved in a couple of community banks. We're small town bankers, towns like this. And we know what it means to create jobs when you loan people money for small businesses and how that works and how you meet a payroll. And we know that as taxes go up, jobs go down. I mean, I remember getting out of law school and the marginal tax rate being 70% in this country. And that's where we're headed if we're not careful. You know, it's Halloween time. And I can tell you something that I'm afraid of, some ghosts and goblins that I'm afraid of. And it would be Nancy Pelosi, Harry Reid, and Barack Obama. Now, you throw in some of their counterparts, like Barney Frank, who wants to increase taxes and has laid out a plan how we're going to do it. We're going to cut back on defense spending 25%. And you see where the Democrats are headed. They're headed back to the 60s. They think this is the great society. They're going back to the 1964 model of government. So the issue set has been set for us by their pronouncements of what they want to do with taxes. John McCain understands that we have to make sure that we keep taxes low. We're in a recession. We've got to work our way out of the recession, not tax our way out of the recession. And every president since Jack Kennedy has understood that. Barack Obama doesn't understand that. So the issue set's there. It's there with energy. John McCain has a balanced energy policy of all of the above. He wants to drill for energy off our shores. He wants clean coal technology. He wants nuclear power. He wants the best battery-powered automobile we can possibly produce and give a bonus for it here in the country, a bounty for who introduces that. And Barack Obama hedges. They said they were for clean coal in some places and against clean coal in other places. We don't know really what to believe about their policies. Just this week, Biden has said that middle class is now 150,000. Obama said 250,000 is where we're going to tax, and he said 200,000. Now Biden day before yesterday, talks about 150,000. These are questions that need to be asked of the other side having to do with issues. This has to do with issues. And then finally, every successful campaign that I've been